Hi, everyone. I'm Evan, a senior manager at Uber, and I'm excited to welcome you to the latest episode in our partner podcast series. So if you're new to the podcast or you just want to catch up on some recent episodes, check out t.uber.com/West podcast. So today I'm joined by Gary and David, two driver partners from San Francisco, and we'll be talking about Express Pool, Uber's newest shared rides product, where riders choose to walk to convenient spots along your route. And this just launched in your city. So we tested Express Pool in Boston and San Francisco before rolling it out to other cities, which means that Gary and David are the experts. They have unique perspective from taking a lot of Express Pool trips and have experienced the benefits of fewer turns and less stress from riders who walk to pickup spots. So they can give everyone listening some pro tips about how to interact with riders who select Express Pool. So Gary and David, thanks for being a part of this conversation. We really appreciate you being here with us. Before we talk about Express Pool, can you guys tell us a bit more about yourself, your background, and your experience on the road?
Hi, my name's Gary, and I've been doing Uber for a couple of years. I used to drive truck, did that for about 20 years, so a lot of time on the road. Had a buddy introduce Uber to me and ended up falling in love with it and decided to start doing it full time about a year and a half ago and been enjoying it.
That's awesome. And David, how about you?
Yes, hello, my name is David. I've been driving for Uber for 10 months. My area is the San Francisco Bay Area, but I'm all over. What else? I have an entertainment company and I drive all the time.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate the context, and I'm personally really excited to leverage your guys' experience on the road to help the partners in our region. So let me start by giving you a bit of background on why we built Express Pool and how it works. So we heard drivers' feedback on Pool loud and clear, right? You guys told us that you thought Pool was more work for less money, and we responded by adding pickup fares and other features like straighter routes and ratings protection during our 180 Days of Change campaign. But with Express Pool, riders are taking on some of the work by walking to convenient pickup and drop-off spots along a route so that pool rides can be less stressful for driver partners like David and Gary and all of you out there. So when riders choose to walk at pickup and drop-off, you avoid circling the block, which we've heard felt like wasted time and you spent going out of your way. But with Express Pool, riders choose to walk to a pickup point instead of being picked up at the door, and they're dropped off at a spot within walking distance to their final destination. By picking and dropping off riders along straighter routes, you should see fewer unnecessary turns and hopefully get everyone to their destination faster. But enough for me. The whole point of this conversation is we want to hear from driver partners on the road who have taken hundreds of Express Pool trips in San Francisco already. So David, let's start with you. What did you think of Express Pool when we first announced it in your city?
I like the Express Pool because it just makes everything faster and easier, especially in San Francisco. There's a lot of one-ways and a lot of traffic. Express Pool is an easier way for me to pick up people's and get people to their destination faster.
Awesome. Glad to hear that. So Gary, what about you? Can you tell us about your first Express Pool experience and what you like about it and maybe what we could do better?
Well, my first experience, I didn't even really know. I didn't know until I picked somebody up and it said to pick up somebody at southwest corner, this or that. And the actual writer educated me on it was an Express Pool. So, but yes, it does work well doing that. When you pick somebody up, you don't have to go, you got to make 3 rights to make a left in San Francisco. So every time you don't have to do that, it makes it so much more efficient and everybody's a little bit happier. So
Cool, that's great to hear. So as you may have guessed, the biggest difference between Express Pool and traditional pool is obviously the walking on the rider side, right? So while the rider app makes a difference very clear to avoid confusion and hopefully set better expectations, your app experience should flow pretty similar to what you've seen on Pool. So the app will always tell you where the pickup and drop-off spots are, so you know exactly where you need to be. So if a rider has chosen to walk, you will see that in your app, so you know what to expect. So Gary, while on Express Pool trips, have you noticed an improvement to the pickup and drop-off experience at all? And specifically talking about the spots that the Uber app navigates you to.
Yes, in some cases, yes, but in some cases, no. Because sometimes it'll actually have you pass the area by 2 blocks to drop somebody off an express pool than where they go. That would be nice to be worked on. Generally, if somebody says, oh, you can just drop me off here, then I just drop them off there.
Got it. Yeah, I think as we get more feedback from drivers like yourself and riders, hopefully those things get better with time as the product is live longer in your city. David, do you have any pro tips for smooth pickups and drop-offs on express pool trips?
Number one pro tip I will use is to text a person and to see if they're already at the express spot. That way it could be more convenient and faster. And then that way you don't have everybody in your car for that long. Basically, you want to make these trips quick and efficient.
No, that's a great point, David, because as I'm sure you guys know, anytime a new product launches, we have to get feedback from riders and drivers to make that experience better through the product and the technology. But sometimes there's no substitute for the human touch, and sending a simple text and helping reiterate and manage those expectations with the rider. We've heard great feedback from that as well. So I think that's something that a lot of drivers can continue to do.
So Evan, will riders know that they are requesting express pool?
They will. So Express Pool will clearly show up as a distinct option in the rider app alongside Uber Pool and UberX. And if they select Express Pool, they have to actually swipe through a series of steps that clearly explains that they're required to walk up to 2 blocks to meet you at a specific pickup point. And they will then get dropped off at a spot a couple blocks from their final destination and walk the rest of the way. So there's a really good, clear experience that the rider's taken through before they actually request their first express pool.
Okay, so what if they ask me to drop them off at a different place than what the app tells me?
So that's a great question. While we're clear in the instructions in the rider app that an express pool trip is a lower cost option because of the walking requirement, these things definitely happen, and we've heard this feedback already. So if a rider asks to be dropped off anywhere besides the drop-off point in the app, you can kindly tell them that they've chosen to walk for this trip and that you have to take them to the drop-off point designated in the app to be fair to everyone on the trip. And if a rider prefers not to walk, it's probably best for them to take an Uber Pool or UberX in the future. But I'd be curious, Gary, based on your experience in this situation, do you have any specific advice to driver partners listening on what you would do in this situation, or if you've experienced it yourself?
Yeah, well, if it's before, because a lot of times, like I was saying earlier about the drop off, sometimes it'll take you 2 blocks above where they're supposed to be dropped off. So as long as I'm not going out of route to the destination, if it's on the way, then I will drop them off early and then end the trip there and keep traveling the direction that I need to go. Like I said, just don't take them out of the way, because then everybody's going to be mad then.
Mm-hmm.
And David, do you have any experiences with this as well?
Well, the only experience I have is riders trying to get dropped off in a different destination. And I always tell them that they chose the express pool and they have to get out and walk.
Got it. Yeah, and this actually makes me think of another thing I wanted to highlight, which is ratings protection. So we totally understand the frustration and the challenges it can be and concerns from a ratings perspective when a rider maybe doesn't understand how something works and then asks you to do something outside of what the experience should be. So another thing to note here is that the ratings protection we introduced last year still holds true with Express Pool. So if a rider rates you lower than 5 stars, they're actually prompted to give a reason for that. And if the reason is out of your control, like accidentally choosing Express Pool and being asked to walk, then this rating will be excluded from your app rating.
Tell us more about the lower costs. If the rider's paying less for walking, are we getting paid less too?
No, so for driver partners, the same time and distance rates apply for both Express Pool and traditional Uber Pool. So you will get a pool pickup fare for each additional rider you add to your trip. These rates vary by city, but you can check yours in the fare section of partners.uber.com. But the idea behind Express Pool is less stress for driver partners, right? So riders walk to a more convenient spot, so you make fewer detours, and there's no change in pay between Express Pool and Uber Pool trips. And one more thing to add too is that Express Pool trips do count toward your incentives. So just like Uber Pool, Express Pool will help you reach your incentive goals.
Also on that express pool and counting towards your trips, it's also really valuable when you're doing the express pool because you're picking people up without driving extra time when you got that 12-hour drive time rule now. So it saves you on that time. So it's almost beneficial for you to do express for that reason, because now you're picking people up quicker and getting them out without making all these 3 rights to make a left in San Francisco stuff. So it kind of helps you out on that as well. So you're getting paid, even though it's a little less than a Uber X, you're still making more money because now it's less time you're driving and you're always picking new people up, getting that extra dollar and then the extra money as you're going along the way. And especially if it's surging and things like that, sometimes you can really make more money on a pool than you do an Uber X.
That's great feedback. I love hearing that.
Okay, so can I have both Uber Pool and Express Pool riders in the car at the same time?
Yeah, absolutely. So when a new rider is added to your trip, you'll see no difference in the app. But while at the pickup or drop-off points, you'll see an indicator in the app that the rider has chosen to walk using Express Pool. So David, actually, do you have any last words of advice for your fellow driver partners listening in?
Yes, just make sure you send out that courtesy text message to make sure that your passengers are at the pickup spot so you don't have to sit there and wait for them, because it is Express Pool.
Got it. I just wanted to thank you both so much for coming on and sharing your Express Pool knowledge with us today. And I hope that all of these experiences you described and the pro tips that you gave help other drivers around the country enjoy Express Pool more. So thanks so much for coming on. You guys have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So for more information on Express Pool, visit t.uber.com/drivepool. And if you guys have more questions while on the road, don't forget about our 24/7 phone support through your Uber driver app or the in-person support at your nearest green light location. For more episodes from our podcast, visit t.uber.com/westpodcast. We're grateful to all the driver partners for keeping our cities moving, and thanks again for listening today.